Hey folks, welcome back to another video.
Oh
Long
boy.
time no see on this channel, and back with a brand new championship, except this is actually round 8 at Bathurst for ThreeWideRacing on Gran Turismo 7, hosted by AJ, who you would have seen a little bit. We're here at Bathurst, as I say, driving the Ferrari in the GT4. It's a joint GT4 and GT3 championship with a predictably chaotic start. But we've got through relatively unscathed in P6, and in the draft of Chris Murray just up ahead, being very aware of the imminent threat behind us from Pedro and Jake in fairly quick cars, I must add. And all the chaos happening up ahead, we outbraked ourselves a little bit there as Matt was forced wide, and we thought, is there a little bit of room there? We want to probably try and look down the outside and put the move on him, but as you can imagine, there's not a lot of room in there. I've kind of foolishly put my car on the outside and got a little bit of a boot into the wall. Just there's not the room there, as you can see. Other people coming a cropper to that as well. The current leader of the championship there, Mercedes, getting shuffled into the wall himself as well as we come up into that iconic mountain section. And there's just about enough room to go single file down here, let alone side by side. But generally speaking, yeah, we're sitting in P9, but it's an hour-long race, I might add, as well.
Might be for the best, actually.
So it's an endurance league in which the grid is set by reverse championship order, and we race for an hour around all different tracks all throughout the game, and this one happened to be at Mount Panorama. And I wanted to choose this one because it happened to be a very eventful race, and yeah, it was definitely worthy of some content, that's for sure. So we get onto the back straight now in the draft of Mercedes once again, with Matt carrying a 1 second penalty, so he's had to serve that, unfortunately. Back he goes. So we grant ourselves 8th place at the moment, and as I say, just looking to settle in. As you can imagine, it's an hour race. You don't want to be getting too keen on making overtakes as I put a move on Mercedes, but there's a little bit of a lag, and I think the lag was what shuffled me wide off of him, so that was a real shame there as it pushed us back a touch. So we're in 8th at the moment, a couple of minutes ahead of time, following Pedro and Mercedes, two very quick drivers, I must say. But somewhere in that lap Mercedes picked up a penalty, so he's going to fall back a little bit, and as he unghosts, it impedes Pedro, which inadvertently gives us a little bit of an advantage to go round the outside of both of them and promote us into P6. Meanwhile, just up ahead, you can see Jake got shuffled wide, who then, in rejoining, hit James due to Chris taking an apex there. It's so unfortunate. 2 cars into one just doesn't go, and James coming off the worst there, I would say, being forced off the circuit without having anything to do with the original incident. So that was really a real shame for him, but we were able to capitalise on that and move up the order. A few minutes later, up in P3,
another lag comes in again.
Right now, actually being P4, with Mercedes going past us, and he was hounding that position. But then we're very aware of the visible lag you can see from him as well. And this was unfortunate this week. His connection's been fine previously. It was just this one, sadly, and it was a little bit off-putting at times. As you can see, somewhere in there, he's picked up a 1.5 second penalty, presumably for some kind of track limits. Meanwhile, Pedro's caught up to us again, challenging us for that P3. So we've had to leave a little bit of room, and you'll see how close we get to the edge of the track. Not really what you want to get used to, with the risk of running wide completely, going off the track just like Jake did
first
before,
is romping ahead.
It all going
anything
wrong.
About it.
So we've held on to P3 there, and over the next few minutes we managed to catch up to Finn in 2nd place. So at this point, thought we're going to get in the draft, try and get a little bit of an overlap, and there was a little bit of room on the right hand side, which is going to become the inside line for the next corner, and we blast down the straight over the crest of the hill down into this very tricky section of corners, I would say, because you're sort of off, the balance is off, and you've got to re-straighten up and settle down again, ready for that braking zone. And you can see there Finn's on the inside, and thought need to try and hold his position. It's broken a little bit too late, and as a result of that we did the over and under on him and took P2. At which point, about 10 minutes later, after 20 or so minutes into our stint, we come in off the mediums. Fuel barely had a lap left in it, so we came in to get off those and put on a fresh set of softs, with the intention of doing a 2-stop in this race. That was our first one, onto the softs, with a further set of softs after around another 20 minutes or so, something like that.
Hammer time.
So we're in a decent spot at the moment. You see Mercedes and Tribe coming in basically 2 laps later, give or take. Probably about a lap later, actually, sorry. About a lap later we had Mercedes and Tribe in the pits, and we thought we need to be doing these undercuts to try and make up some time to them, given that Tribe got such a big gap at the beginning due to traffic behind one of the drives up the front. I'd say it's a reverse grid, so especially around here it's very easy to get caught in traffic. So on this one, I'd say Pedro was just up ahead, and he pit, and we managed to get past him on his exit from the pit lane, so his tyres aren't up to temperature yet. Not that makes a lot of difference in this game, but we still managed to get the jump on him, crucially before getting into this very tight and twisty section of the circuit. Yeah, too much curb there and the car got very unsettled, but crucially we're ahead of Pedro, as I say, as we enter the second half of the race. We've just gone over halfway, and we ran a little bit wide there, and the game deemed that
off, man.
Clearly I gained way too much time there. That's just unforgivable, that is. And the game thought there's nothing else we can do other than give you a penalty. So we unfortunately conceded position to Pedro later on that lap down this straight, and had to settle in and try and follow in his wheel tracks for a little while and make the most of the draft that we would get from him before trying to challenge for that position again, because we were very aware of the fact that Tribe was about 8 seconds up the road, and we needed to do something about that with only 24 minutes left of the race, which seems like a lot, but it flies by in situations like this. But we are in the draft now of Pedro, looking pretty solid to get this P2 back, but again it's one of those, I'm on the outside, touching the grass already there, and we go even wider, we're just on the edge there, and you know, a little bit more wear on the tyres or a little bit too much minimum speed, and you're off on the grass and you're causing an absolute plane crash there, and it's not what you want. So we've got away with that, and again Pedro came back a few minutes later. It was a bit of a real tussle, this one, between us two, but really enjoyable to battle with Pedro. Very fair, very, very fair indeed. And about 5 minutes later we were sort of following him and just following the wheel tracks for the most part, and we came in for our final stop onto another set of soft tyres with approximately 18 minutes remaining, potentially. Something like that. Sorry, 16 minutes, there we are. So we got about a quarter of an hour on these tyres, with several drivers up the road yet to do their stops as well. And as you'll see, just like the last set of stops, we come out just behind Pedro, but have the overlap as he gets up to speed to put the move on him as we go into that section. And the intention was not to concede position this time, and really make inroads into the guys up ahead, Mercedes and Tribe, to try and really make that undercut work, which we tried in the first stint and made up a bit of time. We wanted to see how it would go this time, and look at that. After the first stops, we were about 8 seconds behind him. We're now right on the back of him with 7 minutes to go as we go into this uphill mountain section of the circuit. We got a bit of a sort of a run, but we're never going to get alongside. We knew we had the pace to really challenge for this position. As you can see, it is for the lead now, because Mercedes also came in for his stop, and he's fallen in behind Pedro. So we've got Pedro right behind us, so we're attacking in order to defend at the moment. We don't want to be conceding too much position, but in the pressure of all that, I misjudged my braking into the hairpin at the bottom of the hill. It's a very tricky braking section, I might add, but we are still in the fight. It was only a minor incident, and we can still challenge Pedro for this position, but it did set us back a little bit, and there was a little bit of doubt about whether we could get back in the fight for this victory. And you see, we've gone side by side here, and I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to risk it. I saw what happened to Jake earlier, and then inevitably it ended up hitting James. Unfortunately, I thought, I'm not having a repeat of that, because we had a little bit wide there. Not too happy with how it was looking at that point. But crucially, as you can see, the mistakes creeping as the tyres go off. Pedro went into the wall there, and due to the overspeed, we did get a little look. We thought, oh, we'll take the inside. Let's take the inside. And yeah, we held that inside lovely there, got the move done, textbook stuff, and now we can turn our attention back to the lead, which was about 1.8 seconds at that point, and it was never comfortable through this corner. But again, look, another mistake creeping in as the tyres go off and the concentration wanes, and we thought we'll go in and get a move done here. And yeah, we've put it down the inside of Tribe there. And for now at least we're in the lead with just under 4 minutes to go, but again we've got the move done just before a straight. And just anticipating he'll make a move soon to get back past us with the draft, but luckily we had quite good top end, and he didn't exactly get the slingshot effect of loads of slipstream from quite far back, maybe a few temps back. So we were right there, but he did put it down the inside, and it was a clean move. I did get pushed out a little bit, but it was a clean move, and we have to settle in again. But crucially, as I said, there's that opportunity for a slipstream, and he went a little bit wide there, and as a result of that, it gave us the golden opportunity with about 4.5 temps between us to really get this done down this straight. And we had good straight line speed on the last lap, so thinking we should be able to get the overlap here, but when are we going to get it? And luckily it was right at the point of the apex, as we think, you know what, he's left the door open, let's go for the inside. We've ran it down the apex, and again he's trying to defend, he's late to try and defend, and we thought let's do the over and under, just like we did on Finn earlier as well. Absolutely brilliant, and we got that lead back as well. And as you can see, the two of them have started fighting as we enter the final lap of the race, just going onto it now, with Pedro and Tribe going hammer and tongs for that second place, and I'm sure Pedro is fairly keen to catch up with me as well. So we go sort of halfway through that last lap, back down the mountain, with Pedro definitely catching us as our tyres go off, and it was so sketchy through there on these tyres, I must add. It was not comfortable to be braking downhill in this car at any point in the race, but particularly at this point, with the nerves building at the prospect of a victory here. So, you know, looking at that, you're thinking it's not very close at the moment, but Pedro very keen to try and make up any advantage where he could, where I was falling a bit short, and well, as you can see, very, very tentative with the tyres here. Weren't taking any chances. Gained about 3 temps through those 2 corners, but in the end, it wasn't going to be enough. We got our first victory in TWR for Season 2.
Yes! Get in! Oh my god! Yes! Yes! Get in! Yes! Yes! Thought it was over when I made the mistake. Racing ain't real on this now. I might have to make some time to put that on, yeah. I haven't uploaded in ages, but that deserves a video.